Yoy!
I'm not gonna worry about your level of concern.
Yoy and double yoy!
We talking about Twitter.
Triple yoy!
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Quadruple yoy!
All right, welcome to What Yinz Talkin Bout After Dark.
In the dark.
Always a technical difficulty of some sort. This is your post-draft recap, and no one else can mock the mock better than those who, whatever you get what I'm trying to say.
We're so post-draft we took out the lights.
Let's get to some of the post-draft press conferences and break down
Always the best part of the draft.
the game footage. Starting with first round pick, defensive tackle Derek Harmon.
I'm so glad they got.
For us, I think the other day when
This is one of the only suit days, I think, for Tomlin and Kahn.
Day one, your first round draft pick gets a suit. Everyone else gets a hoodie or shirt.
the phone was ringing and we had some serious conversations, but at the end of the day, once Derek was still there, we were excited.
Would you have traded down for another pick?
I wouldn't have traded down once Nolan and the other big defensive tackle were gone. I think that kind of took away from the trading down aspect. Also, at this point, we still thought Shedeur Sanders was going to go in the first 20-so years of our lives.
Yeah, knowing quarterback wasn't an issue, yeah.
Inside and up front. And this is a guy that's capable of dominating that space
I hope.
versus the run and the pass. And so we're really excited about having him.
I don't think Omar Khan wears suits much. I don't think it's fitting him right. It's bunched up there, back by the shoulders. It really
The
is.
suit was in the back of the closet for much of the season.
These are not Ryan Clark wardrobe approved.
Extreme urgency, to be quite honest with you. There's no substitute for young talent. You don't have a chance to fill the quality.
Is he going to start right away?
I think he's going to start right away because whose job does he have to take? It's not like
Well, wouldn't it be Benton and Cam and?
But that's just it. There's no third guy. They let Larry O go. I mean, he's going to get a chance to beat out that guy from New England whose name we're not going to be able to pronounce all season.
But how often do they only play three up front? Like only about 25% of the time.
Right.
The rest they only have two down linemen, right?
Right. So I mean, but he's going to get a chance to start in the 3-4. I mean, he's going to play a lot of snaps early.
You obviously listen.
I doubt he plays teams.
You weigh things, but at the end of the day.
Plus, Cam isn't playing 100% of the snaps.
That's a big part of this too. You can't have Cam doing all that. Nor should he.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're watching it like you guys are, and
It's still very casual. Like it's coats but no ties.
Right. But perfectly befitting. We're watching it just like you guys are.
Let there be light.
I just think he's been impressive at every step of the process for us. His tape was impressive. We had great
High character guy?
I mean, you can't get a whole lot higher character than this story with his family.
Yeah.
My
Each
word.
interaction, we all got more and more comfortable with. He was our type of a guy.
And learning from Cam Hayward, how much was Cam advocating to add Derek Harmon?
Cam's a team player. He wasn't really advocating for anyone.
Would it even matter advocating?
Right,
Like,
I mean, or what is advocating in this context? Being like, please, I don't want to have to play every snap. I mean, does that count as advocating?
do you think Mark Bruner advocated for his son?
I'd like to think, no, I'd be surprised. I mean, he's the head of Pacific Scouting or West Coast Scouting or whatever they call it. I'd be surprised.
Because there's also RC's son out there,
Right.
and Dino Tomlin himself, I
Right,
think.
who could go to like tryout camp or whatever the thing is where everyone who gets prized in the Magic candy gets to go to.
Quarterbacks in the roster, you want to add 4 when you get to the show. You all tempted to go.
Here's where the quarterback question started. And
Yeah, we're going to slip it in there.
We got the player that we wanted.
I think that's the tersest Con is at the entire point of this weekend.
I guess it wouldn't behoove him to say, yeah, we just didn't think, we didn't have any first round grades on these guys.
Right. Which you could tell by them not taking one.
Yeah, we had been on a pre-draft 30 visit, had an opportunity to get our docs.
Those things really matter. I mean, especially
Well,
with this administration.
the past 2 years though, they didn't go to the pro day.
They didn't go to the pro day. But
Troy Fautanu or this.
yeah, because I don't think they want to have to go out west. That seems like they
Yeah,
take
okay.
a lot of
Is that
time.
it?
I mean,
Yeah.
just thinking Washington and Eugene, Oregon.
He's a big man. He's stout against the run. His resume and tape confirms that. But he's also a major threat in terms of getting after the quarterback. Probably tops in this draft class in terms of interior rushmen. And so,
It's interesting because he had all those good stats about rushing the passer, and then like everyone, all the knock was like, oh, not a natural pass rusher. It's like, okay, I'll still take the guy who got a lot of pressures.
Yeah, I just I was intrepidated by the shoulder. He's got this torn shoulder all of a sudden that was kept under wraps or something.
But then people said that's like an injury that like people play with for years. I mean, that's apparently not a big thing. I mean, it would drive me nuts, but I'm a guy sitting on a stool.
Yeah.
The people at Oregon were really blown away by his ability to fit in, and not only fit in, but lead in a short period of time. He had a similar reputation at Michigan State. And so
This was one of the most mocked people.
Yeah.
He wasn't the very most mocked this year was Jackson Dart.
Okay.
And then
That's so weird.
Shador Sanders was coming up there, but Harmon and Kenneth Grant from Michigan.
Who went like at 13,
Yeah.
like way high.
Just for a young guy, I thought he had an awesome sense of self. He was comfortable in his shoes. He had a real agenda.
Yeah, not something I had at 22. Or did I? If I had an awesome sense of self, it's because I was a cocky SOB.
Right, right. Someone said you had an awesome sense of self. It was not a compliment. I think I was the same way.
Yeah, I don't have one now.
Plan when you took over here that hammer those two areas.
Yeah, you guys have heard me talk about the big guys on both, and it just doesn't apply to the offensive side, obviously. So, yeah, we same thing. Defensive side was an opportunity, and those big guys they're not easy to find, and
This should definitely be some kind of, not just for men, but there should be some kind of bald endorsement, something going on here. This is like two bald
That's what
men.
I was going to say. Clem's really not the orator Colbert is, was he?
I've seen Derek dominate in terms of.
Well, I like what they said in the pre-draft press conference where it's like, I've been in the building for 20 years. Like Tomlin was like, he's been here longer than me. Like,
which is technically true.
Yeah.
We choose to deploy those guys.
Obviously play any nose if needed.
I don't think nose is his game, but.
So he's not going to play.
He's not going to play. I mean, and Tomlin couldn't do more to downplay the idea of a nose before drafting a nose in the 5th round.
There's still a whole draft to go, the 6 more rounds to go, but when you consider Keanu Benton and his role, do you still view him more as closer to a nose or a 3, or do you just want to get as many?
I don't know what that means, a 3 or a 4.
It's where you stand, right?
Players, man, are hopefully going to play a long time together, man, and have a great deal of success. Both guys are versatile. Both guys are
In other words, shut up.
Yeah, are you going to give? I mean, do we got to start thinking about Keanu Benton's contract yet, or is it too soon about that?
I think it's a little too soon for us.
Once you got to 21, was there a deliberation? Did you go over it, or did you just say, wow, here we are, here's our guy?
Yeah, we knew before it was easy. He was there. We were taking him.
We have a better sense of it as we begin to work and see him in that setting.
Yeah, the draft this weekend is not going to make a difference into whether or not we're now a Super Bowl caliber team or not. What? Stumped them.
We talked
Pass.
in Indy, and but we had our meetings before that, and he's just a guy that stood out. We had done a lot of homework on him. We had a lot of contacts at Michigan State, and obviously Oregon. We know some people.
I feel like this is the 3rd time Con said this exact thing.
For us.
Not much else to say. There wasn't how many people.
Right.
All right, let's move on to the next pick.
Okay.
Head coach.
All right, 3rd round pick, running back Caleb Williams from Iowa.
Spent some time with on a 30 visit here.
This is not a suit wearing guy. No, only the first night of the draft is for the suits.
After that, it's like you found me in a tent.
He went fishing with duck this morning. What is that? That's like an Old Navy Henny with a TJ Maxx vest over it.
Honestly, I'm sweating just looking at this. This looks very warm.
In the 4th quarter, what he averaged in the 4th quarter, I believe, was over 5 yards.
And the ugliest hat. It does match the Henley, I guess.
Right, but in terms of Steelers heads, that is bad. By the way, I like a lot of what they say about Caleb Johnson. He's so good because his offensive line was so bad. and that they had no passing game. That's a big part.
That's
of
a
the
big
appeal.
part of Steelers football.
Right? And I figured they're like, oh, this projects well. I'm like, yeah, it does, unfortunately.
Like, we travel on the road. I mean, we're very present at pro days.
Did he go to pro days this year? I guess I didn't pay attention.
I think I saw his picture standing there looking in probably the same outfit watching this guy run drills, sure.
The scouts, these guys have been looking at
They didn't draft receivers, so they didn't draft offensive linemen, so I guess they knew ahead of time that he wasn't going to be that busy.
Tape, but really, is getting to know the person. And I always want to know, and the way I look at it, especially in this role, is
I feel like he says the same thing in the Will Howard press conference, that getting to know the person. That's big for Art.
Is he standing? They chose to sit. I wonder what that's about.
Caleb.
Maybe it's just him. I don't know.
I'll stand, Bert. Thanks.
Right.
We got the desk out for you. No, I'm going to stand for this one.
This is too important for me to sit down.
I'm wearing my
my best standing.
Yeah.
You're really just hearing them talk and seeing where they're at, whether it's protection with the back and what their history is. I mean, obviously in Iowa, they were pretty run heavy, and he ran multiple schemes, but
it would have been tough as a fan of your team seeing this guy's the head coach do the weekly press conference. Like, you forget how spoiled we are with Tomlin in that regard.
You want to create that kind of tandem that you had last year with Jalen and now this guy, man?
It'll be different. I mean, it's just, every year I've been here, I've never been one that.
Every year? You've been here 1 year. Every year you've been here. This is your second draft.
Generally, you've got 500 plus.
It just hit me. If you turn the sound off, it looks like he's apologizing or crying. This whole thing, like it's a very sorrowful press conference.
You're in more 4 minute, so you got let's just leave it at 500 carries to divvy up, and that's kind of where you're at. I mean, obviously losing Naj. I mean, Naj for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, this guy isn't. Is he? He's big, but is he Naj big? He's not.
I don't know if he's Naj big, but allegedly he's explosive, but not in a way that shows up in his 40 time. That's the big talk. The 40 time is what pushed him down to the third round. A lot of them had him as the third best back ahead of the Ohio State backs. And I'm thinking, okay, those Ohio State backs look pretty good. And,
yeah, how fast do you need to be, I guess? I don't know. Najee wasn't that fast.
But I also think now you got other guys that can be fast between Gainwell and Jalen.
Differentiating factor to decide to go running back here, even
Calvin Austin. Let's end around to him. Right now that
or this new guy in the 7th round, Dante, whatever, whose name I'm trying to
no quarterback, no problem. We're handing it off to Calvin Austin and
spoken about the quarterback, but we're talking about Caleb and just the way we're looking at backs.
Oh, he's pissed about quarterback questions.
He came out with these prepared talking points and not talk about quarterbacks. That was my favorite press conference moment of the weekend.
We're here to talk about Caleb, this third-round pick that no one thought was on our radar until.
Stop asking me the question you all want to know.
And Caleb, how can they play off of each other?
Again, that just depends on game and where Caleb's at.
He always starts with shaking his head, I think, whatever the question
I wish he would have just said, look, he's not going to be able to run. He's not going to be able to pass protect like Jalen Warren does, so he's not going to be able to do that, Just say, I don't know.
It seems like that's something that is something they pointed out he'll have to work on. It's like, well, yeah, he's a rookie back.
Yeah, none of these guys are the difference between a Super Bowl and not a Super Bowl.
No, they can make the team better this year. I think he and Harmon definitely can. But yeah, to be that the sole difference maker.
Like I said, we're really excited about where Jalen's at coming in this spring as well. And
he looks excited.
Where Caleb really, like I said, he'll add
this guy exudes excitement. Is he bald too? He should just embrace it.
Anything would be better than embracing this hat.
Tight ends, some of the most, and then also a lot of wide zone, outside zone.
Mm-hmm.
How, when you have something that sounds a lot like your offense, how does that help in your projection of?
I feel like the offensive coordinator never used to get so many questions about like wide zone or what kind of run you're doing. I feel like that's an Arthur Smith sole thing here.
Yeah, I never knew anything about wide zone.
They never asked that to Canada. I mean, they never asked like Chan Gailey or Wisenhunt or Arians or Haley.
Less wide zone, outside zone, whatever you want to call it, than I had previous couple of years. I think Caleb can do it all. I mean, he ran plenty of gap schemes at Iowa, and you kind of change it up again. You don't want to get stale, but he is a really good, whether you're talking wide zone or tight zone runner.
Picking Caleb here kind of reinforces.
He has a natural frown.
Have a run first offense, still plenty of stuff to take shape.
They don't like Brooke Pryor at all. I think he says it. Okay, Brooke. Whenever like use your first name.
I get it. I mean, when you've had the privilege to coach somebody like Derek, And again, you're trying to play the strengths.
We almost went a whole Arthur Smith press conference without mentioning Derrick Henry. Like it almost
You
happened.
ran the ball, just you use what you got and try to play the strengths. But that's not necessarily. We've obviously had a DK. We want to be an explosive offense.
Yeah.
I think balance is the right word. It doesn't mean that every game you're going to be exactly, hey, we're going to be 35 carries, 30 passes.
30 points?
There's a missing equation there.
Operate.
Not every game we're going to have 30 points. Yeah, no shit.
Like that I've seen.
More explosive. And years I've had it, where you've got guys that can rip off explosive runs, that may open up more things.
Don't we need an offensive line that can help us rip off explosive
Well,
runs?
we drafted so many of them over the years. It's time for them to step up for these explosive runs.
This offense we got some returning players.
Yeah, we better not miss Dan Moore this year.
That is very
New
much
offensive
true.
piece we've added along with DK, and so we got to get DK the ball as well. So,
Oh yeah, no, you definitely got to get DK
Yeah.
the ball.
Got to give him the ball about 100 times, maybe. Is that?
I mean, 100 catches for DK would be very nice. George would lose his mind, but I would.
I look at it as an explosive weapon.
Two more here, two more.
Two more, thanks.
Does that normally mean a quicker transition because usually the way they're...
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the process that you want to do.
James Conner was a third. He did never flat out start his final season. He was the flat out starter, wasn't he?
Well, it was when Lev held out. He
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
He started for a couple seasons, but he was so injury prone
Awareness.
that it was kind of hard to tell.
That's what you're trying to build here.
And he's obviously become a starter in the league.
Oh yeah, had a wonderful career.
Lev was a second round.
And started. He was hurt coming into the season, or he would have started.
Mendenhall first round, obviously.
Yeah.
Regardless of your scheme, and it just where you're not just plotting, where you're just
Yeah, it's at first that's
2, 3,
Naj
4
was
yards.
starter immediately,
Yeah.
obviously.
Third
At,
and twos, third and fours, and then
so, but I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't want Jalen to get the majority of the catches right now. I mean, carries right now, but Caleb's going to play a lot in the first game.
I think that Warren's going to be third down. He has the pass protection, so third down still. So maybe it's maybe from 20 to 20 on first down, maybe the rookie can get in or something.
Yes.
You
we're
know.
playing us when we're attacking, but we got to have more ways to get those jump plays. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. All right.
He's so glad that's
All right, Arthur Smith, Steelers.
Let's
and then they bring him back out. Like they made it. You're right.
Well, let's tease that for the future. We'll see Art again.
Talking about the explosive.
So this is Sawyer.
Moving on to fourth round pick Jack Sawyer.
And here we get.
Oh, hey, look, I like this outfit.
Yeah, this is not casual, but it's not formal either.
No, it looks very cozy.
Put him as an outside linebacker to compete for us.
I was surprised that they went edge rusher.
Yes, I was too. This might have been the true BPA, best player available. I mean, it's the one time they didn't go for
He
real
also has a
need.
knack for making plays when they're
Do
needed.
you think this is a $100 hoodie?
I think it's at least $100 hoodie in today's economy.
Wow.
The type of guy that shows
I bet
up
that
when you
feels
need it,
so nice.
when plays are needed.
But it's
just
soft, too, on the
unbelievable across
outside.
the board.
Does he wear a suit ever? What did he say? They feel.
I don't think I've ever seen Austin in
I
the
think he'll fit
suit.
in nicely in our room.
I will say, as nice as this is, I would feel weird wearing this if my boss was in a suit at an event.
You're thinking, was it a big need, or was this a matter of just really liking the player at the spot?
I think at this point we really just like the player. And I think
Best available player. We didn't like the quarterback. Don't ask me about the quarterback.
Finally, the first guy to not get a quarterback question is the defensive coordinator.
And the intangibles and the winning attitude, those things are hard to
Edge
pass.
Jack Sawyer sounds like a comic book character I'm unaware of.
Yeah, that's going to be a jersey. All these Ohio State boys, yeah. And between Bruner and Ohio State draft picks, we're going to have there's going to be a surge in young white jerseys.
Half the time, and probably more than half the time, and that's really a good thing because you got to be able to set edges and do things. And we know in the AFC North, if you're not good stopping the run,
I forget who it was that made the point that, like, where this draft pick does make sense. It's like, okay, this is no more, we're going to play this game with Jeremiah Moon.
Yeah.
Like, and that made some sense to me.
Yeah. In a best case scenario, though, he probably just is only special teams.
Best case scenario, but if they don't bring in an experienced vet, he's going to play a fair amount. Like they tried to do with Preston Smith, and they couldn't.
Yeah, they need four. They need 4 edge guys, right, Will?
Right.
You guys already have a lot of depth and talent in that position group. How do you imagine him fitting in?
Well, we're going to let him come in and work, and then we'll just let the thing sort itself out. I think what
I don't think
happens
there's
is
any
when you
other way
have
to answer
football
that
players,
question, right? I mean,
they
that's
push each other, and then
bizarre
Are they going to ask him about the Oregon pick? Because this is the first time we've seen him.
We've seen the defensive coordinator, right?
Make it easy for you. It'll make an easy decision for us. So
Is this the first time we've seen him since we got bounced? Are they going to just ask him about, hey, what happened in those last 5 games?
Derrick Henry's still running. Do you have any thoughts?
Or have we moved on from that? Today I'm only here to talk about Jack Sawyer.
to rush. He knows when to bull rush. And it's just, I think, one of those things, that's how guys have a knack for it. They really study it. They understand the game. They understand situations.
Well, I mean, I've heard a lot about, like, this is it's nice to have a backup outside linebacker who's big. I mean, as much as I like Herbig, he's a little dude, and he's there to rush a quarterback and nothing else.
As the game goes.
But as far as contracts, we're giving TJ the contract.
Yes.
Alex Highsmith is under contract.
Yes.
Herbig is only on year 3.
I want to say 3, yeah.
So he has one more year
He has one
after
more
this
year.
year.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Probably.
And this defense always needs to feed more outside linebackers.
That way.
but maybe Herbig might not be in. It might be not in the math of it. Maybe.
Right, or he goes somewhere else and becomes like those guys that just, like Cal Van Noy with the Ravens. It's just a pass rusher that goes from team to team.
To stop the run, especially in the AFC North, how much does the way the
Big
season
man, like
ended
just
last
staying up there
year
for a while.
and the issues in run defense kind of shape some of these defensive selections that they have so far?
Well, yeah, we didn't finish the way we wanted, but I think that's always, we're always looking to be better in the run defense, and we know.
We should be now,
if we're
yes.
not-
I've heard we didn't finish the way we wanted from a few of them. I wonder if that was the if that was from Tomlin, from our from high on Mount Arafat or something. What the?
I did like the Tomlin line he allegedly said to Rich Eisen I read, where Rich Eisen said, when did you realize you wanted to improve the run defense in the draft? And he said, before I took the shower after the Ravens.
Sometimes that's not so good, but I feel pretty good about, we had an idea of what we wanted to do if we drafted these guys, if we had these guys in the room, and how we would use them. But a lot of that's to be seen because he has to get here first. We have to really see what he can do. And then
Yeah.
You mean I don't know this guy's whole career moments after we drafted him?
We've seen as much as you have. Didn't you listen to Omar Khan?
Did you watch the playoffs? They were on the major
Well,
networks.
obviously, we had a lot of, we had him for an interview, a formal interview at the Combine, was at his pro day.
They did go to the pro day. Okay.
Ohio State,
Yeah.
Columbus,
Of
they could have
course,
drove.
Of course,
All
yeah.
the things that you talk about and the people that I know that are at Ohio State and being around him, they all say that he is exactly what you want in a football player.
Well, we said that about Devin Bush, too.
Oh, yeah,
so.
no. We said that about Duran Grant. I mean, last time the guy they drafted from Ohio State.
Like we do. Scouts had a really good high opinion of
Yeah,
him.
we watched the
He had a high
tape.
opinion
Scouts
of
is
how he fit into our
capitalized. Good
system.
job
So
of
all
the,
that worked
captions.
together and made him the right choice for us at this time.
Your evaluation process of him up there, did you as staff feel really freed up to focus on front seven? What was the way front office attacked the secondary by adding those two pieces for you in the offseason?
I think so. I think that, the bottom line is we know
What's the bottom line?
to get some young talent up front. And,
Okay.
Derek is the
I mean,
right
it does
guy
make
for
sense
us.
as much as people were complaining about drafted defense. Oh, okay, you complain about the highest paid defense? This is how you don't have the highest paid defense. You get young guys in
We
there.
would love to have, you think there'd be good Steelers, and he was one of those guys. And so we were fortunate enough that he was still there when we picked at 21 to get him, and now it's just a matter of him developing, coming in to our system and getting to work. And
It's a very mellow press conference.
Get to work. Yeah.
Apologies of Arthur Smith.
All right, thank you to
Okay.
TA. Let's move on to my man.
Okay.
No, not my man. We're on the 5th round.
Oh, we're only in the okay. Yahweh.
Hey, Carl Dunbar, who everyone wanted fired.
So really excited about why.
Is he wearing a Harley Davidson shirt?
Harley Davidson hood. See, this is definitely the further away from Thursday night first round, the further we get from the suits. What is that? That's what you wear to work?
That's when you're confident in your job.
Yeah, even I'm not that casual at work.
I think, we need to be more dominant up front.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way you get dominant up front is to get you.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Be a great addition to the group.
See him pure out his car.
I think he's going to be able to play all of it. I think he's going to play a forward technique. He can play nose, but I think we have a pretty good nose tackle on staff right now.
Who's that? Is it Keanu Bentu?
I guess.
Is
I
that
don't know,
pretty
the guy
good
everyone else wants to move out of nose tackle.
It's always good to get young
is.
Late in the season, you know, you can't bounce back because of the beating you're taking. And now we've gotten 2 guys this weekend.
But, you know, I mean, Loudermilk was a 5th-round pick. It's, I mean,
was a 5th-round pick. They traded back into the draft to move up.
yeah, so let's, you know, let's get not too excited about Yahweh Black, although my favorite name so far.
I saw someone pronounce it as Y-A, but even
Y-A.
that, we're never going to get it right.
He plays nose tackle. And I think
Y-A.
have the length to play 4 technique. And I really like Keanu where he is right now and bring these guys up in that B gap and give them opportunity to do that.
It's a very technical press conference with Mr. Dunbar.
I think that he did say, or maybe he says it in this one, that the 1st-round pick guy is going to line up on TJ's side because they realize he needs help to get some, you know, to get free more.
Perfect. So he's not just doing the same thing over and over again.
Good up front, you guys got to have a good rotation. When Cam Haywood was playing 55, 60 plays a game in the 4th quarter, you don't have what you want.
Okay.
Those plays 30.
There we go.
If you
He's
see
going to replace Cam for a few plays.
If you see Cam in the 4th, then things are not going well. That's the old bench him in the 4th cower strategy from last week.
It's going to be difficult to pick 5 to 7 of them.
It's about competition, and that's why we're sitting in this room. It's competition. So
Okay.
if you want to eat, go take your food. So that's what's
Okay, if you want to eat, go take your food. That's a new one. All right.
The press conferences get progressively more confident after Arthur
What's
Smith.
the benefit you see with these 2 guys being able to...
Has he been to prison? That sounds like something you say in prison.
You take your food. It sounds like something you say to someone you have locked in your basement.
to give to a person, but I think a lot of players respect other players who've been through it, and that's going to be the benefit of having someone like Cam, and even TJ, which I saw it, you know, and Alex, those guys that
I feel like Cam comes up at each press conference.
You can't buy that, you got to go out there and earn it, so I think having Cam in the room with these young guys is always great.
How about with Derek Harmon? How do you imagine him fit into what you do?
Same thing, he's going to be
What
a
happened?
long, lean guy.
I imagine that's on the Steelers, not us. Yep, see?
With Alex and TJ, it's a great recipe for us.
I think that's where he said right there that Harmon will line up on TJ's side.
Okay.
I think this is more formal than yesterday's outfits.
Absolutely. This is also the only hoodie I've ever seen cozier than the one TA had on.
To meet with him and spend some time with him at his pro day, just came away even more impressed as a person.
See, it's big how the person is,
We're
Doris.
just excited again to add to our quarterback room.
I love how professional the Pittsburgh sports press is, just throwing phones onto the table there.
Just toss it. It's like bocce.
Well, I think it's important, you know, any player, when you're looking at him, you want to see that, you know, because it's the same thing in our league, you know. Things guys start hot, you know, and you may go into a lull. You always want to see how people respond to adversity.
Yeah.
He's a champion.
I like how a lot of the selling points for Will Howard, and Tomlin brings this up too, is losing to Michigan. That's a big part of why they drafted him. Like that he bounced back after losing that game.
They did play their best ball in the playoffs there, you know.
And not against like a 6-5 Michigan team or whatever they ran into at home.
To be honest, I was convinced by watching the Gruden the video where he was with Gruden, and I was thinking, you know, he compared him to Josh Allen, and I'm thinking, why not? But I was thinking, like, why not old school Ben, like Ben being Ben? Like, okay, can't find the open guy, let me run it first, you know?
And everyone says this guy can't run, but I thought he kind of could.
I thought he could do the Josh Allen type of things.
Developmental piece. What are the keys in terms of helping him unlock his full potential?
Yeah, and that's you know, there's been a lot of discussion about the development of quarterbacks, and I think the one thing that I've enjoyed, certainly the last couple of years, I think the 3rd quarterback rule helps a lot of guys. There's more jobs available.
So they're basically already saying, you know, this guy's going to be the emergency QB.
He's not going to beat out Mason. That would be genuinely impressive, much less Rodgers.
I guess runway to work with somebody.
I mean, that'd be great if he
I know that's
does.
critical, having that 3rd QB, however you want to use it. And now
The
that
Brock
you know
Purdy
that,
role.
But regardless, you know, you need the time with these guys. There's always a transition for what they've been asked to do. And certainly how you manage reps, you know, preseason snaps, like they got to play.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to play a lot in the preseason. If you get preseason tickets, you're going to see Will Howard.
I really wish we would have heard a quote like, "We had a third-round grade on this guy," or something. You know, like how we got with Mason.
They learned their lesson after Mason, saying he had a first-round grade on Mason. That thing followed Mason around like a ball and chain.
But it made me feel it would give me confidence because
Yes.
now I'm thinking, oh, this is a 6th-round guy who should never see the field. Compared to a week ago, I was like, this is a 3rd-round guy who can be the.
Wasn't Brian St. Pierre a 5th-round pick? Like this is after Brian St. Pierre.
Yeah.
Just look back at his resume, the way he's wired. You know, it's you get through this, and you know, there's so much attention on the draft. Obviously, it's such a premium position. You know, these guys get picked apart. You know, more than anybody in probably pro sports. But really, looking at Will.
Yeah, besides Pittsburgh offensive coordinators.
Going from Kansas State.
Because very poetic there for a second about the plight of the college quarterback.
Is that a nice watch? This guy is the son of FedEx, right?
Right,
Is that a Rolex or is that?
I mean, he's made his millions in his own right to be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, so I imagine that would be a nice watch. But I could also see him being like, well, this is a decent watch. I need this.
It's not a Fitbit or an Apple Watch.
I don't think he's a Fitbit guy.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to look at the tape. It's like nothing replaces that. What do you want to, you know, real reconnaissance? However you want to say it, you know, the human interaction. You know, years past. You know, Zoom,
No AI for Arthur Smith either.
You get to spend time with somebody, get to learn what they're about. You know, really how they interact with their teammates, what other people.
He really
think
places
about
a
them,
premium on human
facility.
relationships aspect of this.
Came away
Personal, intimate relationships at that position. And
I don't remember Canada talking about any of that. You had to know the person. I don't remember Haley saying it either.
I think Canada sits in a booth at his own house. I think he's.
When you're this far into the off season and you're still building that quarterback room.
Yeah, well, it's your job, you know. That's.
That's a response.
Oh, there might be some kind of fit on his right wrist.
Okay. Oh, there
What
you
is
go.
that? Unless it's a lip strong.
I got nothing with that. No, there's too much square in that for it not to be tech.
Veteran already established as a returning starter, but you're always trying to work the back end of the roster because history will tell you during the season, eventually you end up playing a lot of guys. That's why it's so critical this time of year when those guys come in, and really during training camp, to make sure you're trying to develop everybody. And that's what I really do like about.
Loves gray. This guy's a gray, off-white. This guy's between beige and gray. His whole closet.
You know, the team does have yellow as one of the colors.
Yeah.
It's black and yellow. Someone could let them know.
Tomlin loves to wear out of the merch store.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Listen to your manager.
Whoa. Chaos.
Was a champion, was won at a high level. Is it different for
No one on this team has won at a high level. Oh, is that the question?
A lot of those guys, you know, when
He's asking about Ohio State.
Great players come from all over. You see Hall of Famers from small schools and whatnot, but certainly it helps. I mean, you know, he stepped into that role and took advantage of that.
Yeah, because he flamed out at Texas, right? Wasn't it?
Is that where? Yeah.
No, Ohio, yeah. he flamed out
I
at
can't keep
Texas.
track of now. Now
No.
I don't know anything about the only two college teams I follow are Penn State and Ohio State. So this was the only quarterback I knew in this draft class. That was why I wanted him mocked.
You get a lot, you know, going back to that question about the totality of the season, a lot of games to play, and really, it's not just the physical stuff. Sometimes it's the mental part that wears guys down, and certainly
Yeah.
he has that.
And
part
the
of
physical
game.
stuff.
Yeah, the physical stuff doesn't help.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we it's a great. It looks like it's a great class. Is it the best draft class ever?
I didn't go right to the Browns.
Oh, then they go to the Browns. Well, I didn't see him talking about saying the best draft class ever this year.
No, not yet. Not yet. Well, you
was-
can't do that if you don't have a second round pick. That's how they got too few picks for the greatest pick out draft ever. And,
All right.
All right.
Until next week, keep listening to your coach.